Detroit, Michigan, 1998. The cold wind howled through the streets of Detroit, rattling the old factory windows where Marcus Johnson worked long hours as a maintenance technician. His calloused hands, rough from years of tightening bolts and fixing broken machines, now clutched a notebook filled with sketches, wild, impossible designs that had earned him nothing but laughter from his coworkers. "Another one of your crazy ideas, Marcus?" sneered Carl, a burly man with a permanent smirk, as he leaned over Marcus's shoulder. "What's this one? A machine that runs on air? Boy, you better stick to fixing pipes before you get yourself fired." The other men in the break room chuckled, shaking their heads. Marcus didn't respond. He just closed his notebook, the weight of their ridicule pressing down on him like a physical force. But inside, his mind was racing. Because Marcus knew his idea wasn't crazy. He had spent years studying energy efficiency, teaching himself engineering from library books, and tinkering in his tiny garage after work. His latest design, a revolutionary air compression system that could drastically reduce fuel consumption, wasn't just a dream. It was possible. But no one believed in him. That evening, Marcus sat alone in his dimly lit apartment, the hum of the city outside his window. His daughter, 10-year-old Leah, sat across from him, her big brown eyes full of curiosity as she doodled on a piece of paper. "Daddy, why do the men at work laugh at your drawings?" she asked innocently. Marcus sighed, running a hand over his tired face. "Because people are afraid of things they don't understand, baby. And sometimes they try to make you feel small so they don't have to admit you might be onto something big." Leah frowned. "But your ideas are good. I know they are." Her unwavering faith was the only thing that kept him going. The next day, Marcus mustered the courage to approach his boss, Mr. Grady, a no-nonsense man who had worked in the industry for 30 years. "Sir, I've been working on something that could change the way we use energy in our machines," Marcus began, laying out his blueprints. Mr. Grady barely glanced at them before scoffing. "Johnson, you're a good worker, but stick to what you know. These pipe dreams are a waste of time." Marcus's chest tightened, but he forced himself to stand tall. "Just give me a chance. Let me build a prototype." "With what money?" Mr. Grady interrupted. "Company funds aren't for experiments. Now get back to work before I write you up." Defeated, Marcus returned to his station, Carl's mocking laughter ringing in his ears. That night, as Marcus sat in his garage, staring at the half-built prototype gather in dust, Leah walked in holding a piggy bank. "Here," she said, dropping it into his lap with a clatter. "It's not much, but it's for your machine." Marcus's throat tightened. "Baby, no, this is your savings." "I want you to use it," she insisted, her voice fierce. "Because I believe in you, Daddy, even if nobody else does." Tears pricked Marcus's eyes as he pulled her into a hug. At that moment, he made a decision. He would finish his invention, no matter what it took. Detroit, Michigan, 1999. The garage was Marcus's sanctuary. In the dim glow of a flickering overhead light, surrounded by scattered tools, half-finished schematics, and the faint smell of motor oil, he worked late into the night. Leah's piggy bank had given him just enough to buy the last few parts he needed. Now, his prototype, a compact air compression engine, was nearly complete. But time was running out. The factory had announced layoffs. Rumors swirled that outdated machinery would be replaced with cheaper automation. Marcus's job, his only source of income, was on the line. And Carl, his loudest critic, seemed determined to make sure Marcus went down first. "You still wasting your time on that junk?" Carl sneered the next morning, kicking the leg of Marcus's workbench. Marcus didn't look up. Somebody's gotta think ahead. Machines like these might be the only thing keeping jobs in this city. Carl barked a laugh. Or maybe you're just scared you'll be the first one out the door. Marcus clenched his jaw but stayed silent. Arguing was pointless. That afternoon, Mr. Grady called him into the office. "Johnson," the older man sighed, rubbing his temples. "You're a hard worker, but corporate's cutting costs. If you want to stay, you need to focus on real work, not this fantasy." Marcus's stomach dropped. "Sir, I'm close. Just give me 2 more weeks." "No." Mr. Grady's voice was final. "This is your last warning." That night, frustration boiled over. Marcus slammed his wrench down, the metallic clang echoing through the garage. Why was nothing working? The engine sputtered, coughed, but wouldn't sustain power. He'd checked every bolt, every connection. What was he missing? Leah peeked in, her small frame silhouetted in the doorway. "Daddy, you okay?" He exhaled, running a hand over his face. "Yeah, baby. Just stuck." She walked over, studying the machine with a frown. Then, pointing at a valve, she said, "What if it needs more air here?" Marcus paused. Kids see things adults overlook. He adjusted the airflow, and the engine roared to life, humming smoothly. His heart pounded. It worked. Leah squealed, clapping. "I knew you could do it." Marcus pulled her into a hug, laughing for the first time in months. "We did it, baby. We did it." The next day, Marcus brought the prototype to work. Carl and the others gathered around, snickering, as he set it up near an old assembly line motor. "This is pathetic," Carl muttered. Ignoring him, Marcus connected the device. The factory's old motor, usually loud, sluggish, suddenly ran smoother, quieter. The energy monitor nearby showed a 30% drop in fuel consumption. The laughter died. Mr. Grady pushed through the crowd, eyes wide. "What the hell is this?" Marcus stood tall. "The future." For a moment, silence. Then, "You expect us to believe some garage project can replace real engineering?" Carl scoffed, shoving the prototype off the table. It crashed to the floor, gears scattering, Leah's piggy bank, countless sleepless nights. Everything shattered in an instant. Marcus's vision went red. He lunged. "Enough!" Mr. Grady's voice cut through the rage. He turned to Marcus, jaw tight. "Clean this up. Then pack your things. But you're fired." That night, Marcus sat on his apartment floor, staring at the broken pieces of his dream. Leah curled beside him, silent tears rolling down her cheeks. "It's not fair." Marcus swallowed the lump in his throat. "Number, it's not." But then, a knock at the door. Mr. Grady stood outside holding a business card. "I made a call. There's a tech incubator looking for real innovation." He hesitated. "For what it's worth, I was wrong." Marcus took the card, hands shaking. Was this his second chance? Detroit, Michigan, 2001. The incubator's office was sleek, modern. Everything Marcus's garage wasn't. He adjusted his tie, borrowed, slightly too tight, as the venture capitalist, Daniel Reeves, flipped through his patched-together patent application. The man's expression was unreadable. "Your compression tech is impressive," Reeves finally said. "But we'd need full rights to bring it to market." Marcus's stomach twisted. Full rights meant his name erased from his own work. "I can't do that," he said quietly. Reeves leaned back. "Then I suggest you find another investor." Outside, the Detroit snow fell in slow, heavy flakes. Marcus stood there, breath fogging in the cold, the business card crumpled in his fist. He'd been so close. Leah was waiting in the car, bundled in her winter coat. "Well?" Marcus shook his head. Her face fell, then hardened. "Then we'll do it ourselves." 3 months later, the abandoned auto shop on Livernois Avenue became their headquarters. Marcus rebuilt the prototype, refining it further. Leah, now 12, posted hand-drawn flyers around the neighborhood. "Free energy savings for local businesses. Test our system." No one came, until Mrs. Ruiz, who ran the bodega down the street, let them install the device on her aging refrigeration unit. "Aye, if it breaks, you fix it," she warned. 2 weeks later, her energy bill dropped by 40%. She told the bakery next door. They told the laundromat. By summer, 6 blocks of small businesses were running on Marcus's tech, without a single corporate contract. Then the letter arrived. Cease and desist. Unlicensed energy modification. The signature at the bottom made Marcus's blood run cold. Carlton Reeves, Daniel's brother, and head of Detroit's largest industrial energy firm. The same company that had just bought Marcus's old factory. The neighborhood gathered in Mrs. Ruiz's back room. "They can't do this," the bakery owner growled. "They are doing it," Marcus said. The legal fees alone would bankrupt him. Leah, sitting cross-legged on the floor, suddenly looked up. "What if we make it their problem?" 1 week later, the Detroit Free Press headline, "Local inventors' tech cuts energy costs. Big companies want it gone." The story went viral. Reporters swarmed the block. City council members demanded hearings, and when a national news crew interviewed Leah, "They broke my daddy's first one, but we built it better," the public outcry exploded. Reeves's firm backpedaled, claiming miscommunication. Marcus didn't care, because that morning an envelope had arrived from the U.S. Patent Office. Approved. 5 years later, the ribbon-cutting ceremony for Johnson Energy Solutions' first factory was packed. Reporters, politicians, even Mr. Grady, now retired, stood in the crowd. Carl was there too, applying for a job in maintenance. Marcus shook his hand. "We're hiring innovators now." As Leah, now 17, and the company's head of community outreach, addressed the crowd, Marcus allowed himself one quiet moment. No one had believed in the dream, except the people who mattered, and that had made all the difference. Every great change in history began with someone the world called crazy. Marcus Johnson's story isn't just about an invention. It's about the unshakable belief that ordinary people can change the world, even when no one else sees the vision, even when the odds seem impossible. So tell me, what's your impossible idea? The one people laugh at? The one that keeps you up at night? Drop it in the comments. Let's celebrate the dreamers. Hit subscribe, because next week we're sharing the story of a single mom who revolutionized education with nothing but a library card and determination. Tag someone who needs to hear this today. Sometimes, all it takes is one person saying, "I believe in you." Remember, the future doesn't belong to the critics. It's built by the quiet ones in garages, classrooms, and kitchen tables, who refuse to quit. Stay bold, stay hopeful, and keep building.